Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. Tonight I've got some Dogman encounters to share with you. You know, as many Dogman encounters that I've narrated, I don't think I ever get sick of hearing a Dogman encounter. Some say that most of the Dogman encounters sound the same, but in actuality they don't. There's always a different description of how they looked, how they acted, what they did. Very fascinating. Anyway, tonight I've got a couple of encounters that I'd like to share with you. Before we get into these encounters, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merchandise to help this channel to continue to grow and go. All of those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypastas, fanfiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that really don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, follow that link and give those stories a listen. You may just like what you hear. I also started a GoFundMe page to help raise some money for nerve decompression surgery I'll be having December 3rd. Now, if that's anything that you're interested in helping with, it would be greatly appreciated. Everybody who has generously donated, I truly appreciate it. I also appreciate everybody who has sent prayers and well wishes. Thank you kindly. Now I've taken enough of your time. Let's get on with these Dogman encounters. Shall we? Today's first Dogman encounter. In June of 2006, a radiology student at Ferris State University in Big Rapids, Michigan, was told by a friend about some strange occurrences near the town of Reed City, about 12 miles away. People had reported some very unusual sightings of a large dog or wolf-like animal near the remote and vacant buildings. Early one Saturday morning, the student convinced 3 of his friends to accompany him on an expedition to check it out. They arrived at the site around 2:30 in the morning. Nothing happened for the first 30 minutes. Then one of them saw movement in the woods nearby. The crickets went silent. Twigs snapped loudly. One of the students shined a bright flashlight toward the source and saw something that he termed not human. The creature seemed to be standing upright, apparently hiding behind a tree. All 4 students saw what appeared to be an arm or a leg, covered in hair about an inch long. Just a small portion of the face was visible, and the student reported, "The way the eyes set made me think of a human face. I couldn't see the ears. I remember the mouth to be narrow, but I don't recall seeing a nose at the end of the snout. The animal didn't move, but when the light hit its eyes, they returned a yellow glow. For several minutes, the students were frozen in place, and one of them finally broke the silence by requesting that they get in the car and get out of there. They drove away, but by the time they reached the main road, youthful bravado took over and they decided to go back and see if they could get a better look. Arriving back at the building, they shined lights all around, but they couldn't see anything. Just as they were about to leave, a motion-sensitive light on the side of the building went on, and they heard a fast rustling noise moving towards them. The 4 students scrambled back into the car and tore away. As the car roared along the country road at nearly 40 miles an hour, one of the students in the rear seat turned to look behind them. In the glow of the taillights, they saw a large animal was chasing them, running on all 4s. When they reached the main road, no one looked back again. The students described the animal like this. "I don't know if this was a Dogman or not, but this thing was not human, is not natural, and is not friendly." Today's second Dogman encounter. In 1972, we lived in a town in northern Indiana in the Muncie area. It was a real small town. I was 9 years old, and my mom came and woke me up at 2 in the morning. There was a black creature on our front porch, and it was about the size of an ape. It had the snout like a dog and would just scream these blood-curdling screams, and then it would start going, "Nar, nar, nar," and it would scream. I don't know if you know anything about coonhounds, but my father always had coonhounds, and he worked the third shift, so he wasn't there. An old coonhound isn't afraid of anything, and they were even cowering in their boxes. They wouldn't even come out. My mom got me up because I was the oldest of 6 kids. We were watching it through the front door. It wasn't making any aggressive moves. It was just making those screams and those noises, but she got the pistol. She said, "I'm not going to bother it unless it tries to come in the house." After about 2 hours, she got one of those Polaroid instant cameras they had back then, and she put it up to the window and she snapped a picture. The flash went off and this thing shot off the wall over the rail and 8 feet into the front yard. We had the light on about 8 feet into the front yard, landed on all fours, jumped up and took off. It was the fastest thing I've ever seen. The picture did not come out. Today's third encounter is a possible Dogman encounter or the Kentucky pigman. Kentuckian Patty reports she was on her way home driving on Highway 94 when she spotted a creature in plain daylight. I was in my little red Mercury and I saw a tall, slender creature on the side of the road. It was in 1983. Patty claims the unidentified animal had just jumped out of the field and landed 50 feet away from her car, running across the road like a gorilla. It was using its arms and legs, headed into the marsh-type land going towards Kentucky Lake. She states she got out of her car and hollered at it. The animal then stopped, turned around, and began looking straight at her. Reportedly, as fear sank in, she headed back to her vehicle and locked the doors. I waited a few minutes while the creature was still visible. This was rush hour, but the oddest thing is that there were no vehicles in sight, she recalls. So, she says, hoping someone would come along, she waited a little longer. I could flag them down and they could see the creature as well. Patty described the creature as 7 foot tall, hairless animal with pink skin, a long torso and arms, hands similar to that of a human, and short legs. Its neck was longer than a human's, and it held a small head with pointed ears. She said its face hosted intelligent eyes and a pig-like snout. She believes the being was a young one, and it reminded her of her teenager, mischievous but not harmful. I would describe it as a cross between a primate, a pig, and a human. As soon as I got home, Patty told her husband about the odd encounter, but he didn't take her seriously. He thought I was crazy, but I know what I saw. Today's fourth Dogman encounter. A man in Claiborne County, Arkansas, states he and his friend came across a humanoid with a wolf head. I heard it moving around, but I haven't seen it. My buddy Dell one night couldn't sleep. It was around 2 a.m. He said he had a strange feeling and he went to check on his horse, so he grabbed a flashlight, the 32-year-old states. Reporting as he approached the horse, everything seemed normal. However, he adds, when he pointed the flashlight at the edge of the woods, he noticed an unusual shape. It was sitting close to the ground, very still, but he couldn't make it out until he got closer to it. So, at about 30 feet or so, he stopped and noticed it was moving. At first, he thought it was a very big man wearing a black and digging his fingers into the ground, but as he spoke to it in a very loud voice, this thing stopped what it was doing, looked at Dell, and made eye contact. He goes on and says when his neighbor realized that it was not a human being, fear came over him. He backed away from this thing. He knew it was not a bear or a dog. He was more like a bodybuilder with a wolf head. The man says everybody in the area thinks they're going crazy or on drugs, but that he's also heard the creature moving at night. I've heard it growl and I've seen claw marks in the trees around. I know what I've heard and I know what Del saw is real. This is no lie. Today's fifth Dogman encounter. The 16-year-old Native American from Oneida was on his neighbor's property looking for wild berries in the summer of 2017 when he encountered a creature at 4:30 in the afternoon. I'd found some berries and I was picking through them when I heard the sound, like several branches break nearby, he states. So I went to investigate the noise. The boy states he observed a creature clearly and then decided to run away. I didn't think anymore. I started walking up the hill slowly. I heard it approach me, so I ran as fast as I could. I reached my neighbor's open cornfield, and that's when I believe it stopped its pursuit. The student described the animal as 7-foot humanoid with white and gray fur on its cheeks, hands, and neck. It had bright blue eyes, glowing. It looked more human than wolf. I noticed it had claws about 2 to 3 inches long, he states. He's also added that he and his family also spotted UFOs every now and then in the area. Being Native American, you hear stories of men with the ability to shapeshift into animals, but this thing scared me. I haven't been back to that trail ever since, and I haven't told anyone this story either. 5 Dogman encounters. Number 3, I'm kind of wondering if it really was a Dogman or not. I mean, they somewhere in the Appalachians had that Hogzilla. I don't really know much about that creature, but I've done some reading. I wonder if it had the ability to walk bipedally. Or I wonder if it was a Dogman that maybe had some sort of mange or something and didn't have hair. Or it was just some off-the-wall, creepy-ass cryptid that not many people want to see. I would not get out of the car if I was that woman. That's crazy. Little pink, snouted-looking creature, pigman thing. Fuck that. That's crazy. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these encounters as much as I enjoyed sharing them with you. I'm working on some crazy stuff right now. Some Sasquatch aggressive encounters in California, to be exact. I got some real creepy stuff going on, government stuff as well going on with these encounters. So that's what I've been working on lately. I'll let a little bit of the cat out of the bag. I've got a person who is actually doing the hands-on investigation. I'm not going to talk too much about it until I can compile it all together and get back with this person, but there's some stuff that's going on that these Sasquatch are not really being their normal self. Usually they're docile, you know. That's what you hear. You seldom hear about very aggressive Sasquatch unless you're screwing with their shit, you know. But then the government is involved too. So that's got me thinking. Some helicopters, black helicopters that are very silent. Anyway, enough of this. I hope you guys enjoyed these encounters as much as I enjoyed sharing them with you. And with that, guys, I want to bid you farewell.